My essential question is, are certain legal systems broken in today's society? This presentation focuses primarily on the U.S. legal system. It's my opinion that their legal system is broken and needs reform. I'm reviewing three major sections of the legal system: the justice system, prisons, and those wrongfully convicted. Let's start with the justice system. The justice system has a high incarceration rate, which means being confined in prison for a period of time. The U.S. is only 5% of the world's population, yet over 25% of the world's prison population is held in U.S. prisons. This is largely because of unfair mandatory minimum sentencing laws. The drug laws in the U.S. are very harsh. For example, when you have 500 grams of cocaine, the minimum sentence is 5 years. But for having 5 grams of crack cocaine, what's difficult to understand, you'll also receive the same sentence. Considering they are almost the same drug, the only difference is crack is smoked and has water and baking soda in it, where cocaine is powder. This is an example of inconsistencies within the justice system, leading to full prisons and starts from the illogical sentences criminals receive. Another problem with the justice system is how they're punishing the non-violent crimes. Instead of sending them to prison, they should be sending them to halfway houses, put on
house arrest,
or probation. All three of those options are less expensive to the government, and the sentences provide an opportunity for the guilty to rehabilitate, helping inmates heal and become productive citizens upon re-entry to society. The money they save on maintaining the prisoners and prison could be reinvested into the country or early intervention programs. The second major problem is with the prison system. When they started prisons in the U.S., they were meant to serve 4 major purposes. They are retribution, punishment for committing a crime, incapacitation, removing criminals from the streets, deterrence, discouraging future crime from being committed, rehabilitation, helping inmates heal and become productive citizens upon re-entry to society. Prisons have lost their initial purpose as a deterrent due to a study which presented evidence that said, with few and isolated exceptions, the rehabilitative efforts that have been reported so far have no appreciable effect on recidivism, the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. Robert Martinson. By 1989, the U.S. Supreme Court completely removed rehabilitation as a goal. Robert Martinson, the author, later retracted his conclusion because he realized its flaws. However, the policies were kept. What I think the government should do is reestablish rehabilitation as a goal again and focus on finding effective methods to help. I believe this because of the success rate of the early intervention programs. For example, Child Parent Centers was a program that showed that children who did not participate within the program were 70% more likely to be arrested for a violent crime by age 18. A second program called Nurse Family Partnerships helped pregnant mothers until their child reached their second birthday. Low-income moms were provided with the care and support they need to give their child a healthy start. Arrests by age 15 fell 59% for the children that participated in the program. Lastly, there was a study that was done called the Perry Preschool Study, and it gave high-quality preschool education to children born in poverty and at a high risk of failing in school. It compared students that were in the same situation that did the program versus those who didn't. The results were 52% that weren't involved to 28% that were involved ended up serving time. The third problem is how there are still hundreds of people wrongly convicted for crimes they didn't commit. Here's a video of some of the cases who fell victim to the legal system.
The female jogger was severely beaten and raped.
4 or 5 kids who got caught up in the justice system. 30 years later, we're exonerated. Even though we were exonerated, it was still a hard battle.
The video of you with the coerced confession is there for people to see, and it's you were so young in it.
Yes, I was 14 years old. You know, they read you the Miranda rights. I mean, stuff like that doesn't make sense to a 14-year-old kid.
So Antoine was raping her. Now what were you doing?
None.
Come on, Ray. I mean, no one's gonna believe a kid like you would just stand there. You gotta put yourself in there.
No, wait a minute. What do you mean, put yourself in there?
Stop.
He was there. You didn't hear what he just said?
Stop. I made a deal.
He doesn't know to really take every line seriously, like you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say will be used against you in the court of law.
I just want to know what that felt like at the time, when you had heard about it.
Well, being 14, it kind of went over my head. It wasn't until I got a little bit older that I understood. And he was the fire starter. He was the person who, he made it okay for us to receive death threats. He made it okay for people to look at us a certain way. That was his role. And you see, like, he still perpetuates that role till today, so nothing has changed.
Do you spend your life looking over your shoulder? Do you get worried if you get stopped by the police?
I think there was at one point, now there isn't. Because I have been stopped by police in my car, speeding or whatever, and the interaction is totally different. You know, I mean, if I'm speeding, I'm speeding. I deserve a ticket. So even my ideology on the police, on the outlook, is totally different.
Did it take a while to get to that stage?
Yes, it did. We know that there's not all, we know that the whole police department is not bad. There's just some bad apples that need to be taken out.
There's a show about this called When They See Us. Another popular film is about a wrongly convicted man, The Shawshank Redemption. Now, let's look into everyday people talking about our legal system. Are certain legal systems broken in today's society?
In today's society, the main thing that I think is wrong with the legal system is people being wrongly convicted.
Legal systems are very broken in today's society and they're very corrupt. I think especially people trying to use their social status to gain better sentences or better treatment in the system.
People who have more money can often find loopholes in legal systems, like they have more money to pay for good lawyers, and a lot of the times they can bail themselves out of jail if they give money behind people's backs.
Thank you for listening to my anthropology mini documentary. If you have any questions, please ask.